Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to share some thoughts and theories I have about Daredevil Season 3 because the official trailer just dropped for it. Obviously, if you have not seen it, you can look in the description down below. I'll include a link to it. But basically, this is going to be me building off some stuff I kind of already threw out there before when, you know, with some of the teaser trailers and stuff like that. So obviously, we are continuing to see like the aspect of, it seems like Matt is struggling with how he should approach things going forward. In particular, like I said, like is the way he's been doing things the right way where he just like gets criminals locked up. Maybe he has to kind of be a little more brutal. Maybe he has to kind of go that step further that he's never gone before because it might be the only way to kind of stop all this from happening. The main antagonist this season will be Wilson Fisk. I mean, who knows, maybe there'll be other things sprinkled in, but so far it seems like he's the main threat. And it's kind of interesting aesthetically because it's like, obviously, Wilson Fisk is wearing all the white, and now Matt is going back to the black mask, like, vigilante look he had back in, you know, most of season 1. He's not wearing the Daredevil suit, which is interesting because part of that, like, it doesn't really come up in the trailer, but it makes you wonder, how long has he been back since the events of Defenders? Like, has it been, like, has he been back a while and he just hasn't let Foggy or Karen know? Or are we picking back up with him? I kind of get the feeling like they probably don't know he's back until he starts like, oh, someone in the black mask is around beating up criminals. I also feel like the lady that's talking to him inside the church, I get like that's probably his mom, because we still don't know anything about, like, at least from what they've shown of like where he's been in all that time. There are like 1 or 2 teaser trailers I haven't seen. So maybe stuff came up in there, but at least when it comes to this trailer, there's no hiding her hair of like, oh, like this, like it seems like Matt is already back in New York by the time the season starts. Like I said, maybe we'll kind of get some flashbacks to it. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just talk about it. I don't know, but I definitely feel like it is connected to his mom, and I think that lady there is his mom. There was no Elektra in the trailer, so it does make you wonder what happened to her. Was Matt the only one that was pulled out of there? Did Elektra actually die because of the events of Defenders? Who knows? But what's so interesting about this too is the fact is that Fisk knows who Matt is. It's like, oh, I know you're Daredevil, which is interesting because it's like, I mean, out of anyone, Matt's the only one that has anonymity when it comes, well, a secret identity when it comes to this whole superhero thing, because everyone else, Jessica, Luke, Danny, even Frank, like they're gonna out. One of his main villains has his identity, which is kind of, you know, a nice aspect to it, especially considering the fact is that Fisk is that particular villain. And his approach to it is kind of trying to turn the city against Matt. It seems that basically he's taunting Matt and he wants to push Matt to kind of like go past where he has been before. And then when Matt's kind of pushing those lines, then bringing in an imposter to impersonate. Because we saw like him going into the church and people running away. I'm like, why would Matt do that? What's going on with that? And it's like, oh, it's because it's an imposter. My immediate thought is Bullseye. Just because he hasn't been introduced in all of this yet, and just the way he threw it, in that instance made me go, oh wait, I don't know how general whether like Bullseye is very good at fighting. It might just be someone else entirely. It might be a different Daredevil villain in general, which is interesting that I say that because I had learned that, you know, Wilson Fisk, you know, obviously he has connections to Daredevil, but like truth be told is he's originally a Spider-Man villain. I even said that in one of the videos, but nevertheless, which in itself is kind of funny on many different levels because I feel like it's on something I only realized till now. This show is doing a lot of what the movie did, but obviously they're spreading it across 3 seasons. Because remember the Daredevil movie with Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck had Fisk, it had Elektra, and it had Bullseye. So it's like, it'd be kind of interesting if that's what they're kind of doing. They're taking the movies and we're spreading it across 3 seasons of a show. Another interesting thing is, I didn't realize this until now, I didn't think about it till now, Jon Favreau is in that movie because he played Foggy, which is interesting because that was him tied to a Marvel movie, which he later on got tied into, you know, the Iron Man movies, which started the MCU situation, and it's just kind of interesting to see it kind of full circle in a certain regard. But part of me wonders why it is that Matt is going back to the black suit, and my initial thought is, the fact is that Matt is trying to separate himself from Daredevil. Daredevil became this beacon of hope in Hell's Kitchen, of being like, someone who never crossed that line, and if he wants to cross that line, he can't be Daredevil. Let Daredevil be that symbol of hope, and let me be this other thing. Let me go back to being this mass vigilante causing problems, because obviously that person hasn't popped up subsequently since Daredevil has been around. Obviously, like, a lot of people probably say that, but I don't think a lot of people, to my recollection, not a lot of people know that the masked dude is Daredevil. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Foggy and Matt's friend Brett, who's a police officer, well, he's obviously going up in the ranks now, but he's the only person I feel like has verbally pointed out like, oh, you're the same person. Some people might think they're separate people, but I don't know. I don't know whether it's 100% because of just past experiences, like his run-in with Frank in season 2 giving him a different perspective. Like I said, he already kind of had that thought process of not crossing that line just of who he is and where he stands, his morals and his philosophy. But meeting Frank might have changed that a little bit more, and then maybe whatever happened to him in that time frame between Defenders and this season, maybe something like that changed his mind too. Or, you know, it seems like it's also just, you know, it seems a big part of that too is just Fisk in general. So I'm curious like how much all of those events play a role in him getting to where he is now. Like for example, is it mainly Fisk that's pushing him? Like the other stuff is smaller reason, and Fisk is the main reason why he's going down that route. I'm also curious about would there be any other cameos popping up? Cause I feel like the last Daredevil cameo we got that's connected to all of this was Jessica Jones, but to be fair, like that was the only show that was out at the time season 2 happened was Jessica Jones, because Hogarth popped up in it. So I'm curious to see at this point in time, now that the other shows have been around a little bit longer, there's a lot more stuff established, like what other cameos we'll get this season. I'm also curious how Fisk got out of prison. It's just kind of interesting after all the stuff he's done, but I'm assuming, and it's like, oh, he basically went to the FBI and made a deal. I'm assuming because he was the big criminal that he was, he accumulated a lot of connections. So it's like, oh yeah, I give you this information, and throws a whole bunch of his connections under the bus, because for him it's like his freedom will allow him to kind of rebuild his criminal empire if need be. Because that's always Fisk's story of trying to be like the hero, like, oh, I'm doing good stuff for the city. He tried, you know, he did it in season 1, trying to justify his actions, trying to make himself seem like the pillar of the community, and it seems like he's playing that up even more by damning Daredevil to make him seem like the villain, because every hero needs a villain, and so by painting Daredevil as a villain, he becomes like, oh, I'm this reformed hero, I'm going down this righteous path, and look at your once hero, he's falling so far from grace, hurting innocent people, crossing a line that he shouldn't be crossing. Which that in itself kind of reminds me of the whole Karen situation. I could be remembering this wrong, but they've never circled back to the whole like her killing Wesley thing, because that might be something we've seen this season too, like her confiding in Matt. Also curious like where they stand at the end of all of this too, because things were a little complicated the last time, you know, during Defenders, of like, oh yeah, like where they stood and everything. So it's like now that he's back and he's alive and everything, like I said, it also probably comes down to whether or not he told Foggy and Carrie that he was back and he was alive. It's like, oh, you just stayed dead this entire time? Like, where have you been? What have you been up to? I mean, and also where does Matt and Foggy stand too? Because they have a very complicated relationship. Things have always been complicated for him, subsequently finding out about Matt's side job, you know, and also where Foggy stands too, because of the whole Hogarth thing. Because that's the last time we saw Foggy in retrospect. It was actually in Luke Cage, because I was about to say it was Jessica Jones. It's like, no, it was actually in Luke Cage. He popped up for an episode. I'm just curious like how a lot of stuff ties together, because especially like for him, it's like the whole Hogarth situation, because like she's kind of going down the path she was going down in season 2 of Jessica Jones, where it kind of ended up for her. I'm curious to see like how that affects Foggy. We didn't really see too much of it really affecting him to my recollection in season 2 of Luke Cage, but still, especially going forward, like where Matt's going to stand with all of this, because I'm sure like, because none of the trailer showed him really in the lawyer position, so it seems like him as Matt Murdock, he seems like he's kind of letting that side of him slip away and become like fully embracing the devil inside of him. So I'm just curious to see how that all kind of fits together in the season. I'm very excited to see, you know, what the season has in store for us. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.